It is my favorite day of the week. It is Monday, and I am always excited about Mondays because we meet in our healing space. Welcome to Master Class, and over the next 4 weeks, we are making space for our beautiful couples. Yes, because as I said, my couples have been taking me through it. I don't know what has been going on, if there is something in the water, but my couples have been challenging me to challenge them to show up better in a more loving and supportive way. So last week we made some space for identifying if there is a communication barrier, right? And so if there is a communication barrier and we have realized that we have problems communicating, the first thing we want to do is to become a better listener in our relationships, okay? And so to become a better listener, you're going to need skills like empathy, being a mirror for your partner, and on top of that, just learning how to speak up for yourself. In so many sessions, I have seen clients that shut down, right? Will not talk. If they are triggered, if they're uncomfortable, if they're anxious, and stonewall. Okay, and so we want to break down these barriers. And now that we know that we have a issue with communicating, we want to communicate better. We want to communicate more supportive and more loving for our partners, the next person that is closest to us, and we want to learn how to be a better listener. Okay? No matter how much you practice other communication skills, you won't get far without a solid foundation in basic listening. I'm going to give you an activity as usual at the end of our masterclass to help you and your partner build a stronger foundation in just listening, right? So before we get to that, I want to give you some perspective on how to be a better listener. One thing for certain, two things for sure, body language counts, okay? I can be in session or on telehealth and the body language is just absurd. Body language counts. Those are our social cues. To listen better in a relationship, you want to start by identifying all the processes that's involved in communication. You also want to listen with your body, okay? And so when I see the folding of the hands, the rolling of the eyes, how we may tilt our body away from our partner, how we fold up into ourselves, that says a lot. You can be saying with your mouth, I'm okay, but your body is telling a different story. And if your partner is reading those social cues, they may shut down. So even though you say, yeah, I'm listening, but your body is saying, I don't want to hear anything that you are talking about in this moment, your partner shuts down. Okay, your partner shuts down, your partner walks away. Your partner does not want to continue the conversation, and next thing you know, you're saying, what? I'm listening, but your body is telling a different story. So we want to know, what we want to convey, or what I'm trying to convey, is that your body language counts too. If you want your partner to feel like you're actively listening to them, I want you to consider holding eye contact. All right, the rolling of the eyes, the looking at the floor, the looking at your nails, the looking at the cell phone, all of these things to show that you are uninterested in what they're saying shows up in your body language. So if you're interested and invested in listening to what your partner has to say to you, hold that eye contact, right? All that other stuff, the the rolling of the eyes and the looking at the cell phone and looking at the floor, all of that can wait for another time. Okay, if you are invested in showing that you're a supportive partner and that you're interested in what you're hearing, hold that eye contact. The next thing I want you to consider is lean forward. In session, oh my goodness, I see that body turn all the way to the side, right? When one partner is speaking and the other partner is not trying to hear anything that they're saying, all of a sudden the body starts to turn to the side, almost have their back to the partner, right? Which again is saying, I'm not trying to hear this. I'm not invested in what you're saying. I don't believe what you're saying. I'm not trying to communicate with you. And so that sends a terrible message. Okay, I want you to begin to start considering to lean forward into what they are saying, showing that you are eagerly awaiting to hear what your partner wants to say to you. Okay. Another thing that I notice in session is individuals may begin to like slump or begin to start folding into themselves, which it could be a lot of reasons behind that. If I work with you an individual, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some things that may have happened in childhood. So when you are in a heated discussion or in a discussion that makes you feel uncomfortable, what happens to you in those moments, right? Because I'll see individuals begin to almost fold into themselves, which is a childlike behavior, like they're being scolded and they're fearful of what is being said to them. And so we want to work through that as well. Another thing I want you to consider is avoid your phone. Please, whatever is on that device could not be as important as what we are trying to convey in telehealth or in person, what your partner is saying to you. Avoid your phone. Okay, if we are in person, the phone is a no-no. But if we're on telehealth and your partner is trying to connect with you, I want you to try your best to avoid the phone and other distractions. So put that phone on do not disturb, put it away, turn it off. Session is only 40 to 45 minutes. And right now we are trying to connect. We're trying to be present. We're trying to be engaged, and we do not need the device to do that. So avoid your phone and any other distractions. Okay. Also, another thing I want you to consider is your face. Your face tells a story. And I am preaching to the choir when I say that, right? Because everyone who knows me knows that I have struggled through the years to control my face, right? I may say one thing, but my face can be telling a totally different story. And so if your partner is trying to connect with you and engage with you, and your face is saying, I ain't trying to hear it, then they're not going to be trying to say it. So I want you to practice or consider practicing engaging in facial expressions that are supportive, that are loving, and that are reassuring. Okay? Focus is key. One of the main things to being a good listener is to focus on what the other person is saying to you. It seems like an easy feat, but to some people, it may be easier said than done. So just as I was saying with the cell phone, just make sure that we are eliminating distractions, okay? Definitely hone in to what your partner is saying to you so you don't miss it, okay? Another thing that I have said to individuals is sometimes we are so hyped to respond to what someone just said that we start having this internal conversation with ourselves on how we are going to defend or be defensive, right? And so we are not listening to what the other person is saying. So I want you to begin to not have that internal conversation on how you're going to respond, but just be present in that moment, right? Let's take the defenses down. Let's take the walls down. If this is your person, this is your partner, then this is the time to be vulnerable and to trust them enough that you can be vulnerable with them. And if you're feeling like you can't, then that is a whole nother conversation for another day in session. Okay, so we are not gearing up to respond to what they're saying and thinking about how we're about to defend ourselves. We are being vulnerable with our partners. Okay, that's another way to be a better listener. The next thing I want you to consider is debaters are not invited into session. Okay, so engagement isn't only about replying or building your own case in reference to what your partner is saying. So that just ties into what I was just saying. An important active listening skill is to pause the debater in your head and engage with that listener, right? And so just as I was just saying to you, stop engaging with how you're going to defend yourself, right? And having that internal conversation and just listen to what your partner is saying. And paraphrasing goes a long way. So that is basically you are just summarizing what your partner said so that they know that you're not just listening, but you're hearing them. And I use that in session all the time because it means that you are understanding. Right? And so if your partner is saying, I want you to help me more around the house, then I will ask the other partner, okay, what did Joe just say to you? Right? Repeat that. Okay? Paraphrase what he just said. Show not only that you're listening, but you're understanding. So we are listening in our relationships today. So I have an activity that I would like you to consider. So the exercise that I want you to consider is a listening exercise. So when you are on the listening end of the conversation, it is just as important that you clarify what your partner is looking for when they start a conversation with you. And so I'm going to give you some examples of ways that you can try to clarify what is being said to you as a listener. So you can ask your partner, are you looking for empathy? Right? Do you want me to just sit with you in this moment, or problem solving? Do you want me to help you figure out an answer? You can also say, I want to make sure I heard you. What I think I'm hearing you say is, or what I think you're saying is, and then ask, did I get that right? You can ask, I understand what you're feeling. Is there more? How can I support you with this today? Is there anything else you want to add? Okay, so I want you to try this listening and summarizing activity with your partner the next time that you are on the listening end of the conversation. Remember this master class and implement some of those questions to show that you're not just sitting there hearing, but you're also listening. And then definitely email me at onthecouch1111@gmail.com. Let me know if that was helpful. Let me know other ways you could use some support. Until next time, my goal for you, my wish for you is to be brave, be magical, and above all else, be well. Chat soon.